Mr. Speaker and members, you know, during this session of the legislature, when each of us were sworn in on January the 10th, one of the things that I had been sent down from my district, and I also represent a part of the Houston Independent School District, which is the largest independent school district within the state of Texas. And it never, no one in my district and none of my school districts asked me to do anything about toilets. And this bill is amenable to an amendment on the Speaker dais about restrooms. I want to talk to you about a little bit about history, because I've lived through the separate but equal period during the lifetime.
The House will come to order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I happen to have been a member of this society during the period of time in the history of this state and in this country where we had separate but equal. And I remember those days. You remember? Bathrooms, white, colored. I was living through in that era of not only American but Texas history as well. Bathrooms divided us then, and it divides us now. And America has long recognized that separate but equal is not equal at all. I can tell you, as an African American, how deeply I felt discriminated against because of the fact of the color of my skin and of my ethnicity. Those of you probably don't have that feelings because you have not had the privilege of walking in my shoes. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you never have to walk in those shoes. Never, never. I can also tell you that separate restroom for transgender kids, which is what we will be discussing on this bill, are also based on fear and not fact. There's a case right now before the United States Supreme Court, and the history of how discrimination has been used to divide us. And I would just like to read you, if you would be so kind, just a little bit about that. Not so long ago, bathrooms nationwide were designated color only and white only. A key lesson of that painful and ignoble era is that white private space barriers, like racially segregated restrooms, may have seemed to some like minor inconveniences or insignificant sources of embarrassment. They were, in fact, a source of profound indignity that inflicted deep and indelible harms on individuals of both races and societies at large. This indisputable tradition of state and local governments enshrined fear or hostility toward a disfavored group of people into laws requiring their physical separation from others should encourage this court to view with skepticism the rationales proffered by local officials here. Members, I think the Supreme Court should be skeptical of this rationales of officials offered in this case. And I think every person on this floor should be skeptical of rationales and the reasons we are being told to support this discriminatory amendment today. Bathrooms have always been used to divide us. It happens before and it's happened today and right now, unless we choose to do something about it. No one in my district, as I mentioned, asked me about bathrooms. And I can tell you, when I go to pee, you think I'm going to be looking over the next stall and seeing if somebody's transgender? No, I'm not. I'm not in the restroom to do that. I would be concerned about if there were sexual predators in the bathroom with me. That would really concern me. And members, while we are bending the arc of equality back into the dark history of our lives and giving certain members of our society an opportunity to turn back that arc of equality for all members of our society, I think it's wrong. You know, when I first got here in 1973, people were revering Barbara Jordan. They talked about her tenure in the Texas legislature. And you know, when she got to Congress, they talked about her and revered her work on the impeachment committee. But do you know she had a separate bathroom because she was African American? She could not use the toilet in the Texas Senate right across that hall from us, in that next chamber. She could not use it. I don't know if they gave her a cup to use or not, but I know that she couldn't use the restroom over there. I can tell you that today, they call it the cloakroom. Both men and women senators use that same bathroom. But we want to divide the children in our state. And the number one reason is this, that separate but equal provisions should be reinstalled in our society because of the fact that we want to treat children differently. The other day, we took time on this floor, and we argued, and we discussed, and we reasoned Senate Bill 8. We talked about life, we talked about funeral remains, we talked about burials and all those things. And we talked about how God had created life. And let me just tell you this, God created transgenders too. And are you going to discriminate on his creation? Is that what you're asking this body to do? My school board member, one of them, who represents a member of the largest school district in this state, sent me a letter, and she says, we have not received a single complaint from a student or parent regarding arrangements for bathrooms according to Title IX. We have not received one. And just like you were up here talking about God's business, transgender students are God's business. And you know what? He loves them too. I move passage.
Chair recognizes Representative Bonham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I appreciate Representative Thompson's comments. I would never be a part of something that is intended to create the issues of our past that she's describing. One, this bill, and I'm not going to play cute with the body. There is an amendment coming. That's something we all know. But her amendment at the time is striking what is in the bill today. Obviously, there is an amendment that I don't know if it's next, but will be coming. But I believe that we need to take a consideration of that amendment. So for those reasons, I oppose her amendment and ask you to vote against her amendment.
Chair recognizes Representative Thompson to close.
Mr. Speaker, members, this issue is so important, and it divides us as a people, and it points fingers on us because we are bending the arc of history backwards instead of bending it forward. We talk about equality in so many capacities, and what's wrong with treating kids with equality and not making them feel like that they are second-class citizens? I don't have a transgender child in my family, but I would love it just the same. I would fight for the rights of that child not to be discriminated against. And I'm afraid that some of these amendments might give some individuals in our society, some school districts in our society, an opportunity to turn back that arc of equality that we have fought so hard, that we treasure so much. I think that it would be in our best interest to stand for the rights of all our citizens and not bend that arc backward, but bend the arc of equality forward. And I ask you to vote for this amendment. I ask you to vote aye.
Members, the question occurs in the adoption. Mr. Tenderholt, for what purpose?
I respectfully request we do record votes on this bill for all amendments and amendment to amendment, please.
Mr. Tenderholt will do a record vote on this amendment. Clerk, ring the bell. Have all members voted? Being 51 ayes and 91 nays, the amendment fails.